So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. The question that I need to ask is, did you enjoy that poem? I love that poem. It's a very short poem. It's written in a sort of haiku style of poetry. And it's a poem by William Carlos Williams. And I really love that poem. That's my review on that poem. Okay, that's my sort of like, like some people do a movie review. That's a poetry review. Now, in order for me to say whether or not I like that poem, it's not a question of whether or not it's a scientific question. You can't answer that question scientifically. You just know. You feel it. You either enjoyed it or you didn't. You either like it or you don't. And some people really love it. I remember some number of years ago, I saw this woman, and she had this, and you can see on her back, she actually had that poem tattooed on her back. I thought that was interesting. I said, I love that poem. It's one of my favorite poems. And it's just interesting, Sometimes people are so motivated by something they enjoy that they will do something like that. Of course, I wouldn't do that, but, I'd probably have like an epic poem, one of those poems that like takes up an entire book, and, you have to have it, tattooed over all my entire body. Maybe I could have an Encyclopedia Britannica tattooed all over me. Actually hire several people to be several different pages of the thing. But anyway, just kidding. But the point is that not everything is scientific. Not all knowledge is scientific. Knowing whether or not you like something is not a scientific question. If you go see a movie and you enjoy it, that's not a scientific question. There are things I enjoy doing, like painting. I love to paint. I mean, actually, I can't even describe how much pleasure I get from painting. It's really a very pleasant experience to paint. And I don't know that by way of science. I love science. I enjoy science. I love science. Scientific discoveries and learning things. And when I was in school, and I used to hang out in the chemistry lab all the time, with the supervision of the teacher, because you couldn't just go in there and do things. But sometimes I would do like other experiments. We would test things and see things and do stuff, and I learned all kind of things. But it was always fascinating to discover new facts about the world. Wow, I didn't know that, and wow, I didn't know that. I remember learning, that certain things in their purest form were metal. Did you know that pure sodium is metal? I didn't know that until I was in chemistry class. That sodium, potassium, and calcium are metal. And we used to have, I remember we had some pure calcium, put it in the water, and you see it boil. Because it reacts with the water. And it produces calcium hydroxide, which is, you have to be careful because it'll burn you. It's interesting, the things you discover. And there's a joy of discovering things. I think that Richard Feynman wrote something like that, a book called the Joy of Discovering or Finding Out Things. He always talked about that. And I think that's one of the main things to me about science, is just that it's actually enjoyable. But you know what? Not everything in the world that we enjoy is science, and not everything we know is science. And everything isn't scientific. Science is just one of many parts of our lives. It's one of many parts of everything that makes up our life. Science is a part of life. It's not life. And I think sometimes people can go too far with science. And they can look at everything in the world as a scientific question. And I was thinking about something that Einstein said. That he said that you could listen to a Beethoven music, you can listen to it and look at it purely in a scientific way, and then you miss just enjoying the music for the music. And I think that sometimes people go too far. I see that so much now when I watch on YouTube. People who are just too scientific. It's like, gee, give me a break. Not everything is a scientific question. Sometimes you just simply have to ask yourself, did I really enjoy that? You know, I enjoy my cup of coffee. It's not a scientific question. Now, granted, science could explain why the coffee tastes the way it does and a whole bunch of other things. But it's not really a scientific question, really.